Hi guys, Uwe Jacobs, property friends, property strategists. Welcome. It's Friday lunchtime. So here I come with my little discussion. Is now the right time to invest into property? Well, as a professional investor, I ought to, and I believe I am, driven by the figures, by the facts, not by hearsay, not by emotion. So let's look at the factors that drive property investment. And my suggestion is we investigate those very briefly and see what the situation really is, because that can lead to a sound decision. So interest rates certainly drive property investment. Interest rates are at historical low at 0.1% RBA benchmark rate. You can now, as an investor, get 2 to 2.5% at times fixed term rates. So the RBA has come out and said categorically that they will not increase the rates before 2024. Yes, they may adopt other measures to slow property investment down, but hey, I'm just going to wait and see. Fact of the matter is, the interest rates are at historical lows. So occupancy, rental vacancy, excuse me. It doesn't matter where you look in Australia. There are many places where the rental vacancy rate is at less than 1%. Tight as a drum. Again, in favor of the landlord. Apologies, got a bit of a sniffle. Again, in favor of the landlord. So that can't be it either. That is in favor of property investment again. Capital gains. Do we have capital gains? Well, in February alone, all capital cities have increased, which is very unusual. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat, which is very unusual in as much that normally you've got one capital city high and one is stagnating or even going backwards. In February 21, all capital cities have increased. How's our economy going? Well, one thing is for sure, much better than expected by everybody, and much better than expected by the forecasters and by the experts. Yes, there is going to be an end to JobKeeper at the end of March. No question. I'm not hiding anything. But there were also a lot of people that were gainfully employed during the lockdown. There is huge amounts of money being spent on infrastructure projects that are employing thousands of people. And those projects are really only starting to ramp up now. And they will employ further people. Mind you, there are much needed infrastructure projects, which is another story. So will there be more job losses at the end of March when JobKeeper runs out? Yeah, I think so. But on the other hand, lots of people pick up work in these big infrastructure projects. Thousands of people. And by the way, and this is something I can't prove, but that I've seen anecdotal evidence of. A lot of professionals and tradies made good money, and businesses made extremely good money during the lockdown. I only have to quote the electronics stores. We all went out, got ourselves a better computer, a better TV, a better this, a better that. So there is quite a bit of money that went into the pockets of professionals, of tradies, and of companies that is now burning holes in their pocket because they can't spend it. We still can't travel overseas. So overseas holidays are out. Heck, as Victorians, we still can't get into Western Australia. So a lot of ways how we normally spend money Still can't happen. And that money is burning holes into the pockets of the beholder. Now, that then gets us to asset class. Is in property investment as an asset class a good area to put your money? Well, if the pandemic has shown anything, then that is that people fall back to hard assets. People fall back to stable assets. And I had to laugh when Harry S. Dent came out and said, property and investment in Australia is down 40%. Now, the bad thing was some banks picked it up and forecasted 40% worst case scenario. Now, that was bad enough, but what was worse, the press picked that up and reported 40% drops, not as a worst case. Be that as it may, I've covered the fact that in February 21, in the month of February, Sydney went up 3%, Melbourne went up 2.5%, Hobart went up 2.5%. The average over Australia on the median price is 2.1% increase. That don't sound to me like a drop. So let's look at the facts. Let's investigate the facts. Then I hear you got to sink your money into large capital cities. Well, that's the old argument of capital gains versus rental yield. Which one is it going to be? Because one thing is for sure, the capital gains usually are stronger in the capital cities. Agreed. I call that the long-term money. But you got to have the rental income to be able to fund waiting for that. I call that the short-term income. We need the short-term income, as for example, in the case in point of Sydney. For 7 years, there was no capital gains there. Now, how would you like to sit on a investment property that you pay, call it $500 a month in your after-tax money, of your after-tax money into? And then you do that for 7 years. I tell you what, my wife, after the 6th year latest, would tell me, are you off your brains or something? Nothing's going to happen. So yes, and again, full disclosure, in the next 3 years, Sydney went up 70%, but you got to be able to live during the time where nothing is happening. And that, quite frankly, is what I call feeding the dragon, when you have a negatively geared property that eats you out of house and home. And hey, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you want to play the negative gearing game, and you want to make 32% on a dollar, give me your dollar. I give you 32 cents. No worries. See, when I put it like that, everybody goes, is this guy crazy or what? So, you know, I prefer personally to be risk averse, and that's just me. That's just my strategy. And put my money, my investment, where the rental yield is high enough so that the property pays for itself completely with all costs and with 100% calculatory finance. It just makes sense. It doesn't cut into my lifestyle. I can do whatever I do normally, and I can sit the capital gain out. And it will come. It always comes. The question is when. That's crystal ball gazing. Nobody can tell you that for sure. So really then, what stops us? Well, what stops us is our mindset, is our fears, is our emotions. Now, there I go to a guy that I really like, Warren Buffett, who says, you can't control your money until you can control your emotions. Let me say that again. You can't control your money until you can control your emotions. I don't need to buy in the suburb next door so that I can check up on the loans whether the tenant has more of the loans. I want to invest into the best possible place in Australia that fits my strategy. So, let's not be emotional. Let's be professional investors. And let's invest where the figures work according to whatever strategy you've got. And I kiss you goodbye with another Warren Buffett. When others are fearful, be greedy. You got to be in it to win it. Next Saturday on the 20th, starting at 10 a.m., I'm holding a webinar. You got to be in it to win it. We'll talk about these things in a bit more detail. And I'm sure I can give you some pointers on things that you may be able to improve or get started with your property investment. Have a good weekend. Uwe Jacobs, Property Friends, Property Strategist. Enjoy.